Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. We're going to be driving through the town of St. Paul, Indiana on this video. Now, right now, I'm just kind of showing you guys some of the areas outside of St. Paul. But, you know, we're going to be in St. Paul in about a couple of minutes or so. Right now I'm just kind of showing you some of the areas outside of the town. Alright, we're getting ready to enter in town here. Now, St. Paul, Indiana is going to be located 42 miles southeast of Indianapolis. And it's going to be 73 miles northeast of Cincinnati, or Cincinnati is 73 miles southeast of here, off of Interstate 74. And St. Paul, of course, is going to be located in the southeast, towards the southeast region of Indiana. And St. Paul is a real small community. Not a whole lot goes on around here as far as it goes for amenities. So, to satisfy most of all your basic needs, Shelbyville is only 12 miles to the northwest of here, which I had done a video on Shelbyville. It's been about a few years ago, so it's on this channel, so feel free to go check it out. Now, St. Paul is a very small community. I mean, it's got a population of 960 people, down by 6.9% as of the 2020 census. The population back in 2010 was 1,031 people. Now, it appears that this town seems to be going. I mean, the population here seems to be shrinking right now. Now, back in 2010, the population had a 0.9% population growth, just a little under 1%. And for whatever reason, the population declined by 6.9% as of 2020, which I believe maybe once I start reading off some of the comments from Niche, or what people think about St. Paul, me reading off some of those comments will kind of help some of you. I can't think of the wording here, but I think some of the answers of why the population here is declining will be in the comments when I read the comments a little later in the video from Niche. Now, St. Paul was named after Jonathan Paul, a pioneer settler here. Now, before this town was named St. Paul, it used to be called Paul Town. Now, as far as it goes for crime, the crime here is fairly low. Now, property crime is a little above national average. In fact, let me calculate that real quick. I forgot to calculate it before I pressed the record button, so we're gonna adjust that real quick. So yeah, the property crime here is currently 5% above the national average, which is not bad. Now, violent crime is real below national average. And as far as it goes for the racial demographics, you got 96.8% white and 2.8% African American. Now, if you're looking to purchase a home here, I'm going to tell you right now, there's currently no homes available for sale here in St. Paul. St. Paul, you still got people that want to live here in St. Paul. Now, if I were to simply drive through the town and not do any research on anything, this would be one of those type of communities that, I could picture myself just, buying me a house sitting on maybe, a half acre at least, and doing maybe a little bit of homesteading. This town, to me, this is a small, charming town. It seems to be a quiet place to live. It appears to be low key. It's close enough to larger cities, but it's far enough away to where you don't really have to deal with a whole lot of riffraff. Now, if you're looking to rent, the median rent prices are going from $820 to $1,580 a month. If you're looking to purchase, the median home price, provided that homes are even available for sale here, the median home price is at $126,000. Now, there were 3 houses that were for sale, and technically they still are for sale, but all 3 of those houses are under contract. Now, if you drive a little bit outside of town, as far as it goes for entertainment, now during the warmer months of the year, if you drive a little bit outside town, which, if you continue to watch this video, I will drive you to White Rock Park. Now, I'm not going to take you, we're not going to get to see the park because I tried driving out there, as you will see later in this video. But unfortunately, the park was closed. The road to get to the park was closed off, so I was unable to get to the park. So I don't know if the park is closed because they're doing some work, or if they just closed the park for the season because it's too cold to go down there. And just to avoid liability, the park doesn't want anybody at that park playing around, and then if someone drowns or something crazy like that, the park could be held liable. So I don't know what the situation is. If anyone's familiar with this area and you're familiar with White Rock Park, drop a comment below. Now, I did look at a few pictures of the park. It looks like basically, to me, it reminds me of either a massive size swimming pool. Now, they do got pictures of people jumping off of diving boards and cliffs and into the water. And they have other type of water activities going on. So whenever the park is open, it does appear to be a very fun place to take your family, or even if you're just by yourself, you just go there, exercise, play in the water for a little bit. And of course, as you will see on this video, I mean, there's now they do got you do have your city parks here too. You do have a city park here, which you'll see later on this video. Again, I'm not gonna, go into the park. If you pay close attention, you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, it's nothing special. It's just a park that has your swing sets, your slide, and in a picnic area. It's nothing special, but it's available though. Okay, now we're going to read off a few comments here. Now, there's 10 comments, and out of 10 comments, St. Paul has got a 3 out of a 5-star rating. So, 8 people gave St. Paul an average rating. 2 people gave St. Paul very good. Those are the 2 ratings that we're going to be looking at. We're going to start with very good. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, these comments are older. But given the fact that St. Paul is not a transient town, you don't got a bunch of people moving in and out on a regular basis like you do larger communities. So, although some of the comments I'm getting ready to read off may be older, I'm going to go ahead and assume that a lot of these comments might still bear some level of relevancy. So here's a 4-star comment from March of 2015. There are many places there are many places that one can go to get food or drinks and have a nice time. Okay. Then the other one is the so-called mom and pop shops are awesome. Now that second one I read was from December of 2014, so that comment's already 10 years old. Okay, now we're going to go to the ones that were 3 stars. This first one is from October of 2015. This area has air quality issues that are caused by a grain bin not having adequate equipment. The grain elevator is also very noisy, and it makes talking outside difficult. There is nothing to do in this town and not much in the entire area. There are movie theaters not too far, restaurants, bars, and parks. There is one place not too far that has comedy acts occasionally. There are more things to do in the summer months, but one does this at their own risk. There are quarry holes that people cliff dive from and swim in, but they are very dangerous because of no lifeguard, and they are very deep. This is the first year in many that I have not heard of a drowning. Okay, this next one is from March of 2015. People usually live here from the time they grow up in this town. Okay, so it's not transient. Most of the people that live here are from the town. Okay, get it, got it. Okay, the next one is also from March 2015. There are not many ways of transportation for people who don't have cars. Well, most small towns don't have good transportation systems, unfortunately. Okay, let's see, what other ones can I read? Okay, this one is from March of 2015. Okay, someone states that people are nice and friendly. There aren't many abandoned properties here, which they're right, there isn't. At least from the job that I took when I recorded this video, I didn't see a whole lot of abandoned properties. And that's, that's always a good thing. Alright, and that's going to do it for my commentary. I mean, there's really not a whole lot there for me to read. I mean, most people that live in this town are most likely, they were born and raised here, and many people are going to probably die here as well. I mean, it appears to be one of those type of towns, which there's nothing wrong with that. And, from my experience, sometimes when you move into some of these small towns that are like that, it could be a nightmare because, for whatever reason, the community may not welcome you, and then your life there is just going to be miserable. Or it could be the other way around, where you move into a town like this, people are nice or friendly, they're welcoming, and eventually they'll welcome you into the community, and it could be a very good experience. So, like I told you guys before, not every small town is the same. Some small towns are miserable, some are pretty decent small towns to live. Like, I remember a few years ago, there were some small towns, a couple of them I forgot where they were at, but they're here in Indiana, and I was driving around looking to buy a house. And I was looking to buy something that had at least 1/4 of an acre, because I didn't want to be super close to other people. Well, this is one small town I went to. I looked at the house. This house was actually for sale. You can either buy it on land contract or you can pay cash. And this small town was, I'm not going to say the exact town, but it was, it was within an hour of, I want to say it was within maybe, a half hour, give or take, of Kokomo, Indiana. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if I live here, if I need to go shopping or any of that type of stuff, I can always drive into Kokomo. And this small town was also within an hour of Indianapolis, so it was convenient to larger cities. So, I called the number that was on the sign, and I talked to this man for like maybe 5 minutes, just asked him a few basic questions about the house. And I asked him, well, when can we meet so I can look at the inside of the house? And he tells me, okay, well, we can meet in a half hour. So a half hour goes by. Actually, he comes early. He comes in 20 minutes. So, okay, he lets me in the house. I go through, I look around, and then when I come back out of the house to look around the exterior and also look at the roof, the neighbor that was across the street from the house, he looked at me. We locked eyes for maybe a couple of seconds, give or take. And then she went in her house and slammed the door. And then the neighbor next to this house, again, we saw each other, and I was compelled to go over there and ask them a question about the house to see what they knew about the house, because sometimes neighbors know a thing or two about the house. And I was going to ask them questions about the area, but before I even got a chance to step that direction, again, they went in their house and slammed the door, and I could hear them lock the door. So at this point, I'm thinking, damn, okay. I mean, these people don't appear to be all that welcoming. So, okay, I continue to walk around and everything. And the guy who was, the guy who allowed me in the house, I was assuming that he was the owner of this house, and I found out later that he was not the owner of the house. He was someone that the owner of the house at this point has actually left Indiana, and they have moved to Florida or something. So this man was just someone that the owner hired to be feet on the ground to allow people inside the house to look at the house, since the owner himself was in Florida. So I looked at this man and I asked him, dude, I was like, sir, do you know anything about this area? And please don't lie to me. So he told me a little bit about the area. I mean, he told me the area was close-knit, and typically it's one of those type of communities where, for starters, if you're of a certain ethnicity, it's not the community to go to. And secondly, even if you are of the right ethnicity, if you don't know anybody there, people still could, he told me people still could be a bit of an asshole. And then he asked me, why the hell did you come here in the first place? I mean, what compelled you to come to this particular community? And I told him, sir, I don't know anything about these areas. I just look around and I make my observations, and I just go off of that. And then he told me, well, let me help you out. Don't move here. And I said, okay. And I mean, now by the time he told me that, it's like, yeah, well, most likely I won't be moving here no way, because of how those two neighbors were. I mean, that for a lot of you, okay, that's small, it's no big deal, who cares? But I'm the kind of person that I pick up on small things like that, because although it might be small, to me it's an indication of what I could be in for if I move into that community. So basically, the guy who sold me the house, he confirmed everything that I was already beginning to think. And he told me, well, I meant to tell you that, but I didn't. I wanted to at least give you a chance to look at the house, because I didn't want to come off as discouraging you from buying the house. And which I understand where he's coming from, because sometimes you got people that are funny, so they're going to tell you certain things to discourage you to buy the house. So he explained all that. I understood. And he then confirmed everything that I began to think after the two neighbors then looked at me, and then they closed their doors real quick. I mean, they slammed their doors. They didn't just close it, they slammed the doors. And in both times, I could hear them lock the door. And typically in some of your small towns, to where people may not be the most welcoming, in some of these small towns, there's different ways that people have of letting you know that you're not welcomed. Now, in some small towns, people might shoot off their guns. That's what I heard from other people. But I think in this case, people will slam their doors, and they'll make it to where you can hear them lock their doors. And that would be their way of giving their disapproval to you moving to their community. And then, of course, like I've told you guys when I bought the house I'm in right now. I mean, like, the experience was completely different. And let me tell you guys something. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys where I live, obviously, but I will tell you this much. Where I live right now, I found out from a white woman who grew up in the city, or who grew up in the town where I live. And she's like maybe, well, she grew up in this town, and she's maybe about 5 years older than me. And she was telling me all the stories that her elders told her about how this town used to be a sundown town, and they used to have signs indicating that if you were, I forgot exactly how they went, but basically, the town where I'm living now here in Indiana was a former sundown town. And I'm looking at her, it's like, oh, okay. Because I was taken by surprise. I mean, as nice as people were to me when I first got here, they lent me yard equipment so I can tidy up my yard and make it look nice. People would stop by my house, and hey, man, I'm so and so. I live over here. If you need something, just come over here and blah blah blah. I mean, I would, some of these people, we would have 5, 10, even 20-minute conversations. So when she told me where I live was a former sundown town, I was taken by surprise. So I tell you this just to point out the fact that not all small towns are the same. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the commentary. There's still another 5 more minutes, give or take, left. So I would appreciate it if you watch those extra 5 minutes. In fact, towards the end of the video, those 5 minutes is where I'm going to be driving you guys to White Rock Park. And like I told you at the beginning, earlier in the video, we're not going to get all the way to the park because the road that will lead us to the park has been closed down. But I think you'll enjoy some of the scenery as I make that trip. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the commentary. And for those of you that have recently subscribed to the channel, and for those of you that have been leaving thumbs up and interacting in the comment section to my videos, I appreciate every last one of you. For those of you that want to help me out, it's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. All you gotta do is give videos like this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider doing that. And at some point I will have a fundraiser up. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I mean, I just been super busy with work and driving around, getting the footage for these videos and other stuff. But whenever I get that up, I'll let you guys know, for those of you that want to donate. So, all right, folks, stay blessed out there, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.